So the main components of sports drinks are salt, sugar, and water. Some complicated drinks have other ingredients like caffeine and amino acids, but those are the key ingredients. Moderate to heavy exercise, including running, cycling, are the kinds of exercises that if they last longer than 45 minutes, usually require the use of sports drinks to maintain hydration, energy levels, and salt balance. The main issue is really just that length of time and the level of activity. If somebody's activity is much shorter than that, then typically they don't gain any advantage by using sports drinks. In our dry Arizona climate, this can be even more of an issue, especially if we're talking about exercise over long duration, and sometimes even applicable to a milder level of activity, but especially if it's been for a long period of time and during the hottest part of the summer. Our dry heat makes it hard for us to estimate how much we're sweating and how much water loss we may have. And this is when sports drinks can actually become very vital, because we really do need to replace that water and the salts that we're losing with that sweat. One thing that people need to consider also is that sports drinks pack a fairly high calorie punch to them. And so if your exercise, the level of exercise and the length of exercise doesn't really require a sports drink, people need to understand that that's a lot of extra calories they might be adding to their diet that they're not aware of and that they may not be needed. My name is Chris Finley. I'm a primary care family physician that works for HonorHealth.
Most of us know the importance of physical activity and exercise in our daily lives, but sometimes we have difficulty with figuring out if we're really doing the right thing. While every amount of physical activity is important, whether it's doing yard work or playing with the kids, it's also important to get dedicated exercise in our lives on a weekly basis. When we say exercise, this is usually activity that actually gets our heart rate pumping a little bit faster, at least to the point where we can't sing. If you can sing while you're doing an activity, it's probably not upping your heart rate enough to have good cardiovascular benefits and probably doesn't reach that exercise criteria. When exercising, to get the right amount, it's good to follow the American College of Sports Medicine recommendations. The easiest way to remember this is that we should get at least 30 minutes 5 days a week or 2.5 hours a week of moderate aerobic exercise, meaning that exercise that gets your heart rate up to the point where you can't sing, but does not have to be so much that you can't talk in full sentences. It's also important that you get strength training that focuses throughout the body at least 1 or 2 days a week. It is possible to stay fit and healthy just with the activities we do in daily life, but you have to make sure that you're getting your heart rate up and you're meeting those recommendations from the American College of Sports Medicine in order to achieve that goal. The most important thing to remember is that we need to be up and moving, even if you aren't reaching those goals yet. As long as you work towards it, that's a great start. I'm Dr. Stacy Dalt, a primary care and sports medicine physician at McDowell Mountain Ranch HonorHealth. Thank you for watching.
It's really not recommended that you restrict yourself while trying to lose weight, because the body does need a certain amount of healthy carbs, healthy fats, and proteins. And generally what we find with the fad diets is that there's just too many restrictions, and it could wreak more havoc on the body than good. And so we do recommend against fad diets and restrictions. Aside from patients with problems with diabetes, thyroid, or other metabolic or endocrine disorders, we really don't recommend that you try to cut back on too many of the carbs, fats, proteins, because as we first stated, it is important to have a certain amount of healthy carbs, fats, and proteins in the diet. And unless you're on a very strict modified diet for medical reasons, we recommend that you stay away from those fad diets as much as possible. Unfortunately, celebrity endorsements are not the best to go by when we're considering how we should lose weight during this season. Sometimes they're recommending pills and supplements that are just not FDA approved and therefore not very well regulated. So I would recommend that you stay away from those, or at least consult your doctor before starting any of those programs. In general, as a primary care physician, I just recommend healthy dieting and exercise, not very many restrictions, but the healthiest way to lose weight is to just change your lifestyle as much as possible. In the extent that we want to make sure you're not overdoing it in your carbs and fats, make sure you're following a well-balanced diet, get enough green leafy things, and get your body moving. That's the best and healthiest way to lose weight. I'm Dr. Janine Hines with the HonorHealth Medical Group.